Thank you all so much for being here this afternoon. My name is Gad Guterman, and I am the Department Chair for the Conservatory of Theater Arts here at Webster University. I am also very proud to have served on the planning committee for this conference, so I certainly hope that you are enjoying it. Today, we are pleased to welcome Alexandra Gurley, known as Alex the Great. Alex is a spoken word artist, speaker, playwright, and activist. She has a Master's of Arts in Cultural Studies. Alex is a Women of the World Poetry Slam finalist, and her work has been published in 10 journals. She lives by the motto, whatever you do, let it be bold. Alex?
Hello, you all. Hey, y'all. Thank you for having me to your 6th annual Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Conference. I trust that I can be able to contribute enough that you will enjoy and take something away from today. So as Gad introduced, I am a poet and spoken word artist. That is a lot of what I do. I use my poetry as a form of healing myself. And in turn, at times, if I'm able to kind of heal and educate others, then my message comes across and I'm done. So I will be spending the next hour with you all performing some work of mine, if that's okay. You all can continue to engage with me in the chat box. Poets, sometimes we feed off of the energy, working in live crowds. So this is always an adjustment, but I am up to the task. So you can go on, in the kind of spoken word tradition or culture. If you hear something that you like, you kind of snap your fingers, clap. You can with your virtual hand raise up. If you hear a line that just really stuck with you, you can say rewind and quote all that. So just putting that all out there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. A lot of times, a vast majority of the history of African-American peoples is rooted in trauma and pain. So I like to kind of rewrite the narrative. I like to start off by kind of setting the stage and kind of, cleansing, saging the space, if you will. I like to say that joy is a love language in and of itself. So I wrote this poem called Black Joy, and it encompasses I just really sat down and thought of all the things that, that give me joy as a Black person, that my life is not just about what has come to hurt me, what has come to take from me. So this poem is a celebration in and of itself. Black Joy. I tried to call myself depressed once, attempted to label myself a statistic to a sickness I had no true cognizance of. My throat wrestled my tongue back down my chest, said emphatically how this body ain't never been home to misery. Ain't no welcome mat or no vision I was either. Instead, I chose to think of all the things that a gracious mouth would conjure up, about all the folks who love me, about a God who continuously saves me, about forgiveness, especially when I'm so undeserving. And even through all my sad days, my bad days, my I can't complain, but things could be better days, I found joy seeping through the cracks of my window pane, and iridescent sunlight on my dark days, a symphony to my beating heart, my inspiration. I found beauty in this melanin, my blackness. Black joy is the wailing police sirens that don't pull you over, because there ain't no happiness that can ever warm a Black person's heart like limbering beneath the brink of death. When your whole life is a misfire in a chamber, an involuntary game of Russian roulette, you stay ever thankful for the miracle of breath. Black joy is a direct deposit hitting your account a day early, holding that big six in dominoes, winning that hand of spades, Saturday morning sleeping in, soul train lines, cookouts, the family gatherings, the DJ playing your favorite song, the unspoken what's up and a dap or head nod, mama catching a cramp around that third stroke of the belt, how the front porch stay covered in old folks storytelling, how the backyard carry traces of kin and its soil, grandma with that underhanded $20 bill handshake, that new job joy, newborn baby smell joy, grandpa's 85th birthday joy, hearing those 3 words, you've been approved. Black joy is a moment when the beat drop and your favorite auntie holler, oh yeah, this is my song, beating the odds, forge a new path, a life not reduced to a hashtag, creating a legacy, laughing carelessly. Sunday morning devotionals, a praise and a worship team, praise reports in that church bulletin. Knowing the meaning of those two words, but God, having a song to sing. Fresh out the salon, looking on fleek, Black Joyce being on fleek. Tight, slaying, on point, beat to the gods, Black Joyce broken English, spoken in slang with a Mississippi backwoods Southern drawl, that Midwest swang, East Coast Jones, West Side be so lit. Black Joyce, the prayer, the omen, the amen, early mornings on Christmas with family, opening gifts, little black dress joy, three-piece suit joy, found some cash in my couch cushions joy, unspeakable joy. Black joy is at work in every breath, a testament to the power of active resistance, to defiance. This is Blackness, this is Black joy. So after you do that, you sage the stage in a way. I wrote this next piece around about 2015, and it was used as a way to kind of counter the narrative that was, I think it was maybe 2013 actually, after Trayvon Martin's killer was, not found guilty, was deemed innocent of his murder. There's a continuous, and still is continuous kind of discourse and discord in popular culture about the Black male. And so I wrote this poem to give my 2 cents in a way. This is my contribution to kind of counter that narrative, to try to uplift, encourage in some ways. So this poem is for Black men. Your living is not in vain. I don't know where to start, but I know exactly where I don't want this to end. What began as a poem was quickly turned into a war cry, a melody, a lullaby for too many people caught sleeping on you. Too many underestimate your value when you command attention just walking into a room, but I know you. I can see right through that superhero facade. You're too scared to say that you're too scared to just live. And I don't blame you. For too many have suffered a more dishonorable death for less, and you, with your back hunched over your pride, it ain't easy to walk straight with all that misappropriated anger spilling out at your kneecaps. But if I meet another Black man with eyes that read like obituaries, and broken grenades for a smile, it will be the absolute death of me. I hope the next time we meet is not through the other end of a TV screen. I pray that I won't have to mourn you back to life. See, you have died too many times, but a queen has always resurrected a king. If Coretta could carry out the dream, then who am I to deny you that promise? Still, I watch you often hang your head below your knees. You at war with yourself, debating over the ballot and the bullet. Still reminiscing over the cradle, but romanticizing the grave, but that shame don't wear you well. I see that King Tut sprouting from your mouth, that ancient Egyptian Pharaoh strut in your spine, and I'm begging you to let yourself go. You ain't nobody's slave no more. That captive spirit don't wear you well. When the noose left that burn around your neck, you call it a birthmark. You're bigger than this. That cotton gin fan keep wearing you down, but you bigger than this. Been shot 41 times and you still breathing. Shake off them flesh wounds that can't pierce your soul. You bigger than this. Though they left you, mutilated body on display for all the world to see, you're bigger than this, so stand up. Stand up and see how you tower over those 1950s fire hoses covering these 2020 post-racial politics. Shed that boyhood skin and step into the man you are. Stand up. And tomorrow when you wake, eyes bloodshot red from all the sleep you didn't get last night, gasping for that final breath of peace you seem to never find. Know this. You ain't too old to dream. You ain't never too old for your dreams. I will help you push the world up off your shoulders and we move mountains together. If you let me, I can pray for you. And have you ever dissected a Black woman's prayer? It is the finest combination of cocoa butter, salve, collard green juice, and holy hallelujahs. You do know that God will always answer a Black woman's prayer. You see, God is a Black woman's prayer. So stand up, Black men, and get your blessing. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting doing these. You can't really, I don't know who I'm talking to, but whoever this is for you. And I'm hoping that you're enjoying and getting something out of it. So I wrote this next piece to honor the lineage of my foremothers, specifically my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother was 5'4". She had brown eyes, skin a perfect shade of cocoa brown that had been gently dipped in the rays of the sun. She was kissed, hand stamped by the right hand of God, signed, sealed, and made into perfection. She was sent from heaven. She had confidence, emanating from every one of her pores like the sweat that dripped off her ancestors' brows in midday heat of cotton picking. She had cotton picking hands from cotton picked lands, had endured so many welts. She had all the scars to prove it, but it was nothing. Just a little bit of cocoa butter and oil couldn't cover up. See, she chose not to hide them. She said to me, she said, baby, I just didn't know my own strength. So I was left with one or two options, and I refused to cower down under all that weight. We were sitting, reminiscing about those good old days, and she ran across my mind. I just cannot forget her. And there was something about that smile, and even though she had teeth with gaps between them and wide as the Nile, she was still more ebony queen than me. See, I come from this generation of vanity, and I wished that I could be her. You see, my Big Mama didn't take no stuff. And even at the lower end of 5 feet, she had a stature that commanded attention without even speaking. She could walk into a room and she make a whole crowd just shut up. She always used to say, you know, you never get too old to learn you something. I've been learning something new from that phrase every day, like the power of love, the necessity of forgiveness, and being selfish will only get you a one-way ticket down a one-way street. And ignorance, it ain't pure bliss. It's just plain old ignorant. My great-grandmother was wise beyond her years. And even after her death 8 years ago, I'm still finding these lessons in her life. She would always give me strength. That's why I hold back these tears until those days I visit her grave, hoping to drop down just enough into the ground to provide enough nourishment so her spirit can grow and birth a new legacy in me. She has such high hopes and goals for me to achieve, and I always hope to make her proud. I know she got to be smiling now, and there is something, truly something about that smile. So do that poem for Big Mama. And then I wrote this piece to honor my mother and each kind of, I guess, stage of life that she has lived in, and so graciously has, taken on in the role of mother. So here we go. No, I'm not gonna do that poem just yet. I'm doing a new piece, kind of shift the energy a little bit. So yeah, this poem is called My Feminism. And yeah, you get a little from it. So I like to kind of, I write on my experiences, obviously, and my identities, and however they intersect in, whatever ways through my daily experience. I'm a woman, I'm African-American, I'm, cis, I'm a mother at this point in my life too. So, that stage of parenting and all those, I guess, things really do kind of inform my my experience and my writing as well. So my feminism. My feminism will whoop your misogyny any day of the week, because my feminism ain't no punk. My feminism knows that you fight like a girl is not an insult, won't settle for all the stereotypes because girls are not fragile. We are strong-minded, built to last. My feminism is a lit match, a broken fuse, a furious flame burning bras, panties, and all ties to bad relationships. Why does it have to cost so much for good support? For $45, I'd much rather keep my money and hold myself up. My feminism says equal work deserves equal pay. Duh. You are not any more qualified than me. Does it make you any more or less qualified than me? See, I like to think that I come from a less dying breed, the kind that won't just lay down and take it. Unlike that old adage, I'm good for more than just laying on my back. Sometimes I like being on top. My feminism will twerk, shake, and drop everything she got to the floor with no hands. Say sometimes when I move, my ass moves the opposite direction, but we are not asking for attention. Do not need any of your permission. My feminism is not for all your slut shaming and your name calling, your body politics. This vagina has a mouth and she will speak for herself. My feminism does not like boxes or closets or hiding spaces. It's not about exclusionary tactics, not afraid to be bold, to stand out, to live proud. My feminism talks like this because I can back it up. See, I don't speak on facts of what a woman should do because I respect a woman's right to choose. I don't like hairy legs or armpits, but I won't knock you if you do. And I would never kill a gestating child of mine, but I respect your right to choose. My feminism does not promote violence as I'm being provoked. I don't incite a riot unless I see a threat of smoke. And I don't take too kindly to idle threats. I speak, even when I'm not spoken to, I move, and I don't wait for your instructions. My feminism says, F all your rules. My feminism knows that I don't just live, my feminism knows the heaven and the hell I hold in this body. My feminism knows I don't just live in theory, in debate, in dissertation, in your textbook. I am a daily contradiction, a walking counter argument, and my feminism teaches me to never, ever be silent. All right, so I think it's really important to cherish our elders. And, you know, especially those who have gotten to a certain degree and point in life. And I'm originally from California. And so this next poem, this person is about, I guess, or dedicated to Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Like to kind of give my, what do you call it, my, poem for her. Behold, the day I seen your face and heard you speak, words turning smooth like butter from the udder of your lips, and not a flaw that I could tell. No mistake or misspelling behind the pronunciation of your throne. I am convinced that when the Lord created you, he did not break the mold, yet he invented the clay, manufactured the blueprint for what we now call Black girl magic. Or when don't they claim to love our magic, but they call it witchcraft when we actually start practicing. Forget that magic was used for both a cursing and a blessing. So when you lash them with your words, cut them with that double-edged sword they were not expecting. When a Black woman serves you with truth, it is a meal to be less desired, yet it is so good for you as the chitlins and the cornbread and the hot water cornbread made to thicken you up. I mean, cooked to toughen you, love, and auntie who does not fault you for your wrongs. Whips you up something good to eat before you can say no or thank you. She sends you out into the world, greases your elbows and ashy knuckles. She uses her magic to make miracle of your face before they make martyr of your body. Teaches you that you are no exhibits. You are the entire museum. The curator specializes in healing, knows some kind of wizardry, the kind that show enough creates $1 out of 15. See, my auntie Maxine be the kind of tree limb that don't break, the kind of roots that knows its lineage, water pure enough to wash you clean, but strong enough to drown you if need be. But she be so humble. Let her tell it. You don't have to read me my resume because I was there, standing on the front lines in the sit-ins when they put us out, kneeling with my knees wanted to give out, but I never gave up. So y'all's president don't put any kind of fear up in me. I'm a strong Black woman. I cannot be intimidated. I do not yield not 1 second to you. I'm reclaiming my time and I am not going anywhere. Obviously, I wrote that poem at a time when we had someone else in leadership over this country. You know, she obviously, Maxine Waters, wasn't shy in expressing her disdain for one President Trump. So that's where some of those lines came from, some, you know, things she actually said, but short little piece here. My 3-year-old daughter proclaimed excitedly, how she wanted to play with those pium things. And all I could think to myself was what a pure joy it must be to live in a world where you have no earthly concept of the word gun. All right. Yes, so my father was an incredible influence over my life. My parents were both married and raised myself and my sisters, in a loving and stable household. We didn't have much in the way of material resources at times, but we definitely were not short on love. And then the famous words of the poet Nikki Giovanni, Black love is Black wealth. So say all that to say that he transitioned 3 years ago now. And I like to carry him with me in all things. There's an African proverb that says that we all die twice. The first is when we make our transition, and the second is the last time someone speaks your name. So I always use any opportunity I can to speak his name. So Fred Garland Gurley Jr. This poem is, I like to say that a lot of the instructions, I guess, that I got from him was more in the way of me watching him, by example. And so following what I would see of him, his hard work ethic and, his care and compassion for people and all that. So I wrote this poem, How to Survive the World After I Am Gone, Advice from My Father, which is obviously a, supposed list of instructions or advice that he would give me. So you find yourself still crying over me. Some days can't tell whether it is raining or the not newness of your own tears. Have you not had enough of the salt stain on your tongue? Don't worry yourself with another misquoted scripture from a false prophet. If you have to ask yourself whether or not you've made me proud, don't. I don't know whether that means don't ask or don't wonder, but none of it matters. Stop being critical and analytical. Soften the rock in your throat. Don't throw caution to the wind. Be the wind. Shift the energy, gloat, and the compliments of your uniqueness. It's yours. I didn't raise you up to cower for any man. Remember what I always told you. You are my curious child, always so introspective. But every answer doesn't need an interrogation. When you get the answer, don't question it. Pray yourself to sleep at night. Pray yourself to wake up in the morning. Pray on the road to joy. Let go of the wheel. Give up the keys. You cannot drive on both sides of the car. Seek the God of your own heart. Practice love, same way you do those poems and perfect it. There is no shame in loving out loud, in calming the silence of your guilt, in feeding the glutton of your grief. Kiss it goodnight and seal it with an amen. Let me go. Rest your soul. Eat well. Feed your mind. Give yourself grace. Just enough grace to make another day. Remember what I always told you. If ever given the choice to speak or stay silent, move, create your own rules. If you don't remember anything else I told you, remember this, just keep living. So as a writer, I'm able to write my own world in some ways. The world that I am currently living in doesn't honor me and respect me and uplift me in the way that I needed to. There's a beautiful thing with writing, with the English language, with art in general, where you can, create something new. So in that way, I write out a necessity in some ways. I'm my own therapist, but poetry is definitely an additive, you know. I think the professional counseling is necessary for so much trauma that I've endured. I like to tell people I am a constant survivor, you know, not a 2-time, 3-time survivor, but I survive daily a world that that you know would see me not excel, that would see me fail. So in my most vivid of dreams, I live in a state of pure euphoria, where fantasy crosses over to reality. I don't know a world in which I didn't know my history. Minority is a word just as foreign to me as illiterate. Everyone, a scholar in their own birthright, Du Bois had not developed the concept of the talented 10 because Black folk were the exceptional 100%. There was no protest against affirmative action. 209 is only an area code, not a prop or a foul or reason to call time out. Our history in ancient Egypt, rooted in royalty, dressed as deity, is equal parts of the curriculum, just as integral as the Constitution, just as American as apple pie. My name is still my name, and my brother's name, and my sister's name, and my grandmother's name. No matter how much practice it takes to say correctly, I am worth a summoning without mispronunciation, and added pause if need be, not in need of correction. Provide me a seance so I can convene with the ancestor Thurgood, and we instill some martial law over this injustice. I have taken my power back because we all know the pen is mightier than the sword. That's why they say the mind is sharp. To say I'm smart is an understatement. I am ingenious. I was born with the intellect of 4 generations. Just stop by outside of my mind to say, Black folks never needed you to give us a holiday. Everything we got, we earned. Everything you bought, you take, you steal, you lie. And as the story goes, you lie, you're a thief, you kill, you murder her, and you live to laugh about it another day. You smile in our face, you spit on our grandfather's graves, you desecrate the sanctity of our name, but you cannot stop this praise. Shake down the leaves, but you cannot trim the roots away. So, listen, I have worked in higher education as well as some of you, and it is a very interesting experience that I have had as a Black woman. I find that I am asked to be in spaces often that I am not actually welcomed and included in. And that is a thing I've had to grapple with, you know, like this really, I guess, for me. So I was working in one particular institution for a considerably short time, but, you know, impactful enough. One of these places who, you know, I guess, you know, wanted things in name and title, but not necessarily in action and behavior. One morning I came in and was greeted with, hey, Alex, what color do you bruise? So I'm like, this is strange. First of all, I'm very thrown aback. You know, I just moved here, you know, to another state. Is this how y'all greet people? I don't understand. So I'm like, excuse me. And, you know, the person repeated it again. So I'm like, okay, you know. So I retreated to my office and wrote this poem. I like to tell people this is the poem. This poem is the response I would have given said person had I not wanted to keep my job. But alas, capitalism, you know, I like to stay employed so that I can eat, you know. Apparently we have to work to make money to feed ourselves, which is a great shame as well. But I digress. Here's this poem. How I denounce my Blackness daily, or tales from a Black woman working in higher ed, or when white privilege and Black privilege collide. These assholes keep trying to antagonize me. I make excuses for them, pass off their ignorance as just innocent curiosity. But why they gotta complicate my life? Like me being Black and woman and alive ain't enough for me to have to constantly try to analyze. See, I'm inclined to believe that questions like these don't find them sitting up at night. They don't constantly have to use their brain as a filter to sift their thoughts through instead of their mouth. Too often, I get choked up on what I should be saying. Why am I in charge of your feelings? Trying so hard not to step on your privilege. I'm just floating by, placing awkward laughs where the awkward silence used to be, but it ain't nothing funny. So, to the white woman who asked me what my bruises look like, presumably in comparison to the color of hers, dare I say, I was too taken aback to give you a proper response then, but the fact that you even thought it okay to ask me something like that, white privilege, the fact that you only asked and didn't carry out the act to see it, black privilege, see, unlike you, I have to live this. Attempt to navigate the minute space between birth and funeral. A smile and a tear. One moment and the next, my bruises look like the Atlantic Ocean parted open and swallowed 3 million bodies in its belly. My bruises like the ring being the only ID Emmett Till's corpse could carry. My bruises like a whip, lashing amnesia to Toby, forgetting his name was Kunta, 1 foot. Bullet to the head, broken ribs, gouged eyes, severed tongue, sound like a horror movie. But that's Mamie Till's story, Sabrina Fulton's story, Coretta Scott King's story. It's my testimony. This body be the pulpit, this life is a sermon. My bruises look like having to teach you this, like the souls of black folk, double consciousness. See, the fact that you spend your whole life making a living, white privilege. The fact that I spend my whole life thinking about dying, black privilege, but you wanna know what my bruises look like me being black, woman and alive and enough for me to have to analyze. My bruises look like this moment, like me channeling all this rage in a paper and pen instead of your face and my fist. My bruises look like Trayvon Martin, look like I'm regurgitating on 400 years of oppression. My bruises look like Selma, Minneapolis, Baltimore, Ferguson, like Oakland, look like I'm burning, man. Can't you see a body on fire? You just stand there with that silly grin on your face, dousing more fuel on the flames. This here ain't easy, man. This living is a constant challenge. This blackness is beautiful. It's a shame I can only go to the mirror to see it. The fact that you tell stories about your 3 little children, white privilege. The fact that I wrestled with naming mine beloved, black privilege. My bruises look like I bite my tongue so hard last night I almost swallowed it. Like my hands stay at 10 and 2, I make no sudden movements. My bruises look like Sandra Bland. A hashtag, like the police can turn my eulogy into a suicide note. Look like Texas, rewriting history to call slaves, workers, and the slave trade, a migration riddle. What is another word for a black family reunion? A graveyard. I am always the butt of all jokes. The fact that you got something to laugh about, white privilege. The fact that I got something to smile about, black privilege. You ask me what my bruises look like. The fact that you don't see the irony, white privilege, the fact that I'm standing here is the evidence, black privilege. Because if a black body ain't the most obvious example of scarring and healing, then truly, I can't tell you what is. All right. I like to say that takes something out of me. Every time it kind of brings me back to that space, but yeah, here we are. Issa Rae now famously stood on the red carpet of the Emmys and told reporters that she is rooting for everybody black. Gave a lighthearted chuckle and a smile, but we all knew there was no joke in her message. And all the black folk across the world send a virtual hug, a nod of agreement. Got faith in that black card. The power of a good seal of approval from a sister who only wants to see you shine. It was in that moment that you see the ego leave the room. The stereotype of general unhappiness and hate does not win. Knowing that real encouragement is our original black card, you never leave home without it. And every bit of sister friend camaraderie of black folks takes over. Haven't we all stood in this moment? Moved to the shadows long enough for someone else to get the spotlight, knowing there is nothing a black woman's encouragement cannot fix. No confidence like a good ounce of cocoa butter on ashy elbows, or what ache or rub a tussin cannot heal. What on earth can be more valuable than a lasting friendship, a vote of support from someone who knows you just like the black hand side, like a good hand of spades, like mama got them hands in the kitchen or on your backhand side. You know how deep those fibers run, how sacred and soul stirring is the kindred spirits of two Black women conjoining in praise, celebrating each other's accomplishments as their own because they are. Knowing truly that when a Black girl doesn't dim her light, we all will shine. Issa, crank that Niger girl. Tell us all about how a Black woman glows and make a Black woman's name trendy again. Jet black hair, Black dress, Black rim glasses, unapologetically Black, Wakanda forever, Black majestically, Black like Black. And I think, damn, I want to be that kind of Black on TV, at home, abroad, comfortable in my skin. Make us look good, make Black look regal, make us understand we got more to offer than what has been taken. Show us the meaning behind authenticity, make awkwardness okay. Show me Black and sister in the same sentence without it being a cliche. Say it without stuttering, without it being a mere whisper or an afterthought, something unbelievable. Believe it, because it is the truest thing you will ever hear. All right. I think I'm good on time. I got a few more. This morning, I woke up coughing. One of those real dry coughs right out of the desert. One of those wheezes that leave you believing you just may be dying. Even your arms reach out, grasping for air you cannot see. Because you know that virus is going around, that fear is getting passed down, and I can no longer tell if I trust my own body not to betray me. I don't quite understand the symptoms, and it's sickening. My allergies are irritating. I can't breathe right. They ran out of ventilators, couldn't generate enough chaos, so they just created some. This ain't the first time they forced families apart. Shut us up. Shut us out, shut us in, but we've always been locked down, behind bars and in school now, in our own house. Dear God, they're rationing out toilet paper, 4 rolls at a time. Have we all really just lost our minds? What happened to humanity? Next, we're running out of our sanity, and I refuse to go crazy. Are we in a state of disbelief? Or are we just adjusting to our new normal reality, this life now filled with air hugs and blowing kisses, time traveling back to letter writing, heavy reliance on social media and this social distancing? We going live because that's how we're still living, how we practice resiliency, even in the midst of all this everything, when the only true answer anyone has is uncertainty. What we offer to each other is our love and a lasting legacy, that we were never the ones to go quietly. No, we ain't never died easily. We ain't never died easily, and I'll be damned. I'm too ill to let a virus be the death of me. I am greater than even my strongest enemy, conquering mountains and molehills and any man-made disease. Woo! Yeah, for me. Yeah, this is so weird, but yeah. I guess I just think of it like it's a whole play. You save your applause to the end. So I have this next piece I'm gonna do. It's a poem, that another persona poem. That you would say a persona poem is one that you write in the voice of another person. And so I guess it was pressing at the time I wrote it, but yeah, I want to share it. It's called 10 Reasons Why I Would Never Run for President, says Michelle Obama. After Barack spent his 8 years in office, Michelle got a lot of questions about, if she would run for president. They folk thought she was good, for politics or what have you, that she'd be a great leader. And some of this is what she's actually said before, but also, just kind of my spin on it. So 10 reasons why I would never run for president, says Michelle Obama. 1, it's irrational. And I have a little thing we like to call common sense. There's certain things you just don't do, like banging your head on brick wall, or walking in front of a moving car, or running for president of the United States of America. But I guess common sense just ain't that common too. I know y'all, America. You got nothing better to do than to engage in salacious gossip and drown up a scandal. You live off filth, and I refuse to let you try to rumor mill my marriage into the ground. A Black marriage thriving is like your kryptonite. 3, I'm a Black woman living in America in 2020. I got enough problems on my own to sign up for more stress. I will not volunteer myself for your trauma. Don't want to babysit you and your first world problems. 4, quite frankly, I just may be a little bit overqualified. 5, just because I'm smart and can give a good speech doesn't mean I should be president. That's not how we should pick the president. Like it's some middle school popularity contest or something. That's just childish and ignorant. 6, I've lived in the White House before. That's it. That's the reason. Been there, done that, got the postcard, nothing more I need to see there. 7, I really do believe people should stick to what it is they do best. I'm into fitness. I encourage people to get moving, but politics, it just ain't my niche. 8, as a mother and a wife, I already gave enough of my life to this. Can't even begin to talk to you about sacrifice. I shared my husband for 8 years with the free world, and I thank God we've been set free, world. You expecting to potentially burden my family with 16 years in office? That's a whole ass teenager. You want me to raise a teenager worth of presidency? It ain't happening. 9, one thing about me, I'm not coy at all. I'm just a woman from the South Side of Chicago with humble roots, but even bigger ambitions. I'm just too real for y'all. Y'all ain't ready to meet Shell. 10, Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So there's absolutely no question in my capabilities. But for once and for all, so we can just end all this talk, I just don't want to. And that is the end of that. For Ava DuVernay, we watch our stories be absolutely transformed on screen. We witness you turn our broken pieces into a whole masterpiece, and we revel at the magic that emerges from the dust. How you flip those crumbs into a 3-course meal, how we used to steal a whiff from the back door, but we eating now, we feasting now. Ava, you do this extraordinary thing with time where you make history the present, and you present us on screen for us to see a mirror image of God, how you keep blessing me. From a dusty church pew in Selma or Montgomery to a park bench central to New York City, you prove to us time and time again that your capacity for success isn't limiting. You got long range, forethought, and vision to see past our wildest dreams. Ava, you keep bringing hope, illuminating dark streets. And I want to thank you for teaching my daughter that our stories are worth being told, because now the whole world is listening. Okay, I got enough time for 1, maybe 2 more pieces, and then we can open up the floor for any commentary or questions you may have. And yeah, thank you again for the space. Praise the silence. Praise the God of the deleted text and the whispered words that fell on deaf ears and lowered fists and clenched wrists and a silenced tongue. Praise the changed minds. Praise the God of the unlearned habits that did not wait to die with you and the broken generational curses. Praise the spirit of forgiveness, ushered in by the angel of mercy. Praise the God of mercy that's been bestowed upon me for an unhardened heart and a loosened grip, for the phone calls that ain't so tense. Praise the art of pure conversation, of communicating without leaving a lump in my throat like a stone I can't pass, or the mirror I shall not look into. For what is life without growth? What is strength if not meant to break the mold? Praise the lesson in self-soothing, the removal of desire for self-gratification. Even praise the beast of self-doubt, how it befriended the devil and they tried bullying me into joining their clique. Praise the glory of newfound confidence, of an awakening, a revival, the rebirth. Praise the God of a new verse and a new tongue, the spirit to sing the solo when the audience has left the room or the home. Praise the home I found in God, domicile I took up in my chest. Praise this breath, the little engine it could in these lungs, the fight, the struggle, the whisper, the prayer, the moments, the minutes. Praise the fact that I'm still here. I'm still here. And praise God that I am still here. Last poem. Just a short few rights. And I'm gonna get out y'all's hair. I hope y'all been enjoying not just this, but the entire conference, and continue to as well tomorrow. And keep taking part in spaces as these conversations, this community is necessary. And thank you to everyone who put this on. They act like we are asking them to give up their firstborn. Like their only choice is Cain, and they ain't able to choose death so easily. Like we ripped their child from their womb or their arms. Like 200 of their daughters went missing in a day, and no one panicked or even sounded an alarm. They left us powerless, then dropped matchsticks in our cities, stood back and gasped as we set it ablaze. But contradiction is the language of the oppressor, a foreigner's tongue, pronounces things differently. They act like they speak like someone who doesn't belong here. Like some words are just too hard to say, like racist or guilty. They act like we robbed them of their history, then sold it back to them on a website called Ancestry. They act like if they were us, they would not be enraged. Like they traded us 8 years in the Oval Office for more slain Black bodies, and we were not happy with the exchange. They act like we ain't deserving of life, not handed to us in fractions. They act like they don't still owe us 2/5, and we ain't earned all that shit. Thank you for your time, Webster. That is what I have for you. I will turn it over to Erica.
Alex, thank you so much. I can tell you for sure that everyone has been enjoying this and appreciating it. So thank you for your performance and for being here with us today. Thank you everyone for attending. I'm Erica Ellard, and I'm the director of the Reig Academic Resource Center here at Webster University. We are going to take some time for some comments and some Q&A. Please type your questions for Alex in the Q&A section. But Alex, as you weren't able to see the comments as they were coming in, we want to share a few of those with you. So one is, thank you so much for doing this. It must be odd, like you said, to do this in this setting, but know that we hear you and are nodding, tearing up, laughing, feeling chills the whole way. We really appreciate your context for each piece. The chat is also filled with claps and snaps, emojis, so much appreciation for you and for sharing these amazing and powerful stories. Everyone in the audience really feels your energy. We appreciate it.
Okay.
They've also created a hashtag for you, Creative Mind and Tongue.
Okay.
Some additional comments. We are listening, getting chills, amazing. Loving what I'm receiving. Keep it up, Black Queen. You are touching our hearts. Heart shattering, raw and real. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I love you too.
Thank you. So our first question is, what is your background? Did you begin writing and performing your poetry when you were very young?
I mean, I don't know, elaborate on the background part, but yeah, I started writing when I was in the 8th grade, so about 13 or 14 years old. And but I didn't start, actually, it was a assignment in class to write a poem. So what started out as something that was, a requirement I was made to do was turned into something that I, really love to do. I was born to do that. I can't not write at this point. So I grew up in a pretty large family. I was one of 7 children. So I always felt like writing was my way of getting my voice out there or being heard in some ways, you always got to vie for attention in some ways in a large family. So I've always liked writing in every respect, essays, plays, everything. So, but yeah, I've been writing for a while now.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad that an assignment turned out to be something that was really impactful for you and something that you've enjoyed since. Another question is, are you published? I would love to be able to read your poetry.
I don't have work published with a large agency. I've self-published my work, and you can purchase it through my website if you would like. www.alexthegreat.com. A lot of people get tripped up with the, it's spelled with an A, but yeah, you can go there and look and find a little bit more about me and purchase there.
Great. We have shared that in the chat for anyone who's interested, that website address. Additional comments, your words are so powerful and hold such purpose and intention. Really appreciate that. Your voice has blessed me this day is another comment that's come in.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Really, I enjoyed the all of your pieces, and I know a couple of them made me laugh out loud. Do you have a favorite piece of what you've shared, or maybe something you didn't share?
I mean, I would say that my favorite piece to perform has grown to be Black Joy. My favorite piece, like that I have written, is called My Autobiography in 9 Parts. And I didn't perform that today, but yeah, those are my favorites.
Okay, so everyone needs to go to the website and make sure that they read or purchase your autobiography in 9 parts. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, we also have a comment.
Sticks and Stones. I was gonna say that poem is in the book called Sticks and Stones, Don't Break My Bones.
Got it. Thank you. Another comment is, thank you for your words, Alex. Moving and thought-provoking. Thank you. A couple of reactions to Black Joy. Joy is a love language. Love that. Newborn baby smell, joy. Love that. I think, yeah, that was definitely a strong reaction for everyone. And direct deposit a day early. Joy. Love that.
Yeah.
Oh, very wonderful.
Who doesn't get happy with getting money they didn't expect?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to give everybody a little more time in case somebody has another question. And I know that before the session started, we talked a little bit about where you're located and kind of what's been going on lately. Do you have any comments you want to share with the audience about what's been going on currently in your life?
I mean, that's where I was kind of going off on a tangent about, F capitalism, because what we experienced, I'm in Dallas, Texas. What we experienced here last week was a result of capitalism and greed. That, larger company corporations, we didn't have to be, I guess, through that experience. It was unnecessary and preventable. It was kind of arbitrary decisions that were made to arbitrarily turn off folks' power to try to conserve the energy, but because we, couldn't, they say, we couldn't stand, the weather, the extreme weather that was coming in. But those who were within, they turned off and on power so much that it got to a point where the wet lines and everything were frozen so that they couldn't turn it back on after a while because of that. So I think they knew that were coming, that they could have prevented that, and just the way that they kind of arbitrarily decided, I'm gonna pick these houses in this area just to have y'all in the dark and cold. People were trying, to live, and that shouldn't have happened at all. But yeah. So we're here, but like I said, I'm continuously surviving. So every day I'm surviving something else. So yeah, I was one of those who didn't have power for like 3.5 days. So having no power means having no heat, having no lights, all of that. And it was the lowest it was maybe 1 degree at the lowest.
Oh my.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you're surviving. We hope that there's never a need for anyone to experience that again. Do you have any other spoken word artists or other inspirations that you would recommend?
Oh my God, a million of them. Like seriously though, I have a whole like Excel sheet of recommendations. If that person can email me, I can send it to them. But just off the top of my head, I guess I would say Aja Monet. I like to start from with history. So I always go with Langston Hughes, Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou, um, Sonia Sanchez, and then kind of bring it back to some more contemporary people like Aja Monet, Danez Smith, Janae Johnson, Javon Johnson, Natasha Carrizosa. Yeah, so you can Google any of those names, and like go to YouTube and Google them as well, see videos of their work.
Okay, we really appreciate your offer to have people email you that question so you can send them your Excel spreadsheet. That's really great. Thank you. I'm going to finish with 2 comments. One is, thank you. My soul was empty and now it is full. I appreciate your vulnerability. And another, you are clearly a wonderful writer, but your energy, heart, and delivery are equally as effective. Thank you for sharing your stories with us. So again, Alex, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here, and thank you to the audience for your attendance as well. We hope to see everyone back here this evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for Patrisse Cullors and the session titled When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Matter Dialogue. Thank you so much.
Thank you.